I'm standing there in anticipation, and the whole room erupts. Two of my friends hosted a brunch party and are now passing around an ultrasound photo, their first baby. They wanted to surprise and announce it to everybody in person. So naturally, everybody's hugging and celebrating. There's this energy in the room. You can just feel it. And I'm watching all of this on my phone. Not because I'm traveling or something urgent came up, but I chose not to go. I had work to do that mattered more. I was being disciplined with my self-imposed deadlines. That's what discipline looks like. Right? But while everybody was celebrating, I felt something uncomfortable around me, a low buzz, constant, unsettling. It was this feeling of not doing enough. You can be disciplined, successful, doing everything right in life, and still feel behind. I call that feeling ambient discontent. I didn't know it then, but I wasn't building discipline. I was training myself to disconnect from 3 relationships: from myself, my purpose, and the people around me. But that's exactly how it starts for a lot of us. A motivational video where a guru says, "That book changed my life." So I order it immediately. And like many of us chasing productivity, I start optimizing everything around me, my mornings, my calendar, my emails. But this new life meant no more late nights on the couch with my wife. Coffee breaks started to feel like distractions. Up went the "do not disturb" sign at work. If this is what discipline and success looks like, why does it feel so empty? Finishing things did not bring relief anymore, it just reset the bar. I wasn't improving my life now. I was just managing this discontent. This isn't a self-improvement problem. It's a disconnection problem. And that disconnection shows up in the form of 3 characters that I'm sure you have all seen them too. The first one. She moves through rooms without a word, yet somehow you feel her presence. In the late nights, in that overflowing to-do list, in that last email, hoping that the day would finally feel complete. Oh, her name is Never Enough Nancy. If there are any Nancys in the crowd, I did not mean to offend you. There's this voice many of us hear when the day is coming to an end, just as we are about to rest. It doesn't yell, it doesn't insult, it just whispers. But the more you listen, the louder it gets. You could have done more. You should be further by now. Don't rest yet. You haven't earned it. Nancy pretends that she's helping, but never lets people feel done. One evening, my wife asked me a very reasonable question. She said, "Are you ever actually done for the day?" And I said, "Of course. I'm just wrapping things up here." Then when she wasn't looking, I added 3 new things to the list. She asked, "If your list never ends, when do we get time?" I wasn't trying to finish my work. I was trying to earn the right to rest. Once again, that low buzz of ambient discontent. So I tried something new this time. Instead of staring at that unfinished list, I looked at what happened that day. The calls I made, the work I did, the people that I helped, nothing dramatic. And I noticed right away that Nancy gets louder when your effort is invisible. But if you can make it visible, it turns into evidence that today counted. And that is the only way to weaken the not enough story we tell ourselves. Instead of asking, how can I do more? You start asking, what have I done already? Because if you can answer that, the day finally starts feeling enough, and that unsettling hum quiets down. So eventually, I closed my laptop, I looked at my wife and said, I'm done for the day. She stared at me, she smiled and said, we'll see. So Nancy got quieter, but I didn't feel any lighter. That's because Nancy wasn't the only one running my life. She had help. Meet wide lens Will. Once again, any Wills in the crowd? My apologies. Nancy makes you feel like you're not doing enough. Will, on the other hand, makes you feel like everything's important, as if every shiny new idea could change your life. But unlike Nancy, who whispers criticism, Will sounds more like my social media algorithm. One morning, right before a jog, I spent 30 minutes planning my perfect podcast cue. It had how to be the next Tony Robbins, how to be a millionaire by age 37, and how to lose 63 pounds by Christmas. Oh, and I'm pretty sure one of them was going to tell me, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. That fixes everything. Apparently. My brain scrambled through all of these opportunities all at once. That paradox of choice. I got so frustrated that morning, I went on my very first run without anything in my ears. Yes, I'm that guy now. Once again, that low buzz of ambient discontent, only this time it sounded like fear of missing out. And that made the problem obvious. I wasn't lacking opportunities, I was lacking direction. So I changed the question. Instead of asking, is this a good opportunity? I started asking, what is the first thing I want to do right now? Because there is a big difference between going a millimeter in a million directions and a mile in one. At first, it did feel like missing out. Every choice evaporated 100 others. But with every decision, the fog cleared, the uncertainty softened, and that unsettling hum slowly mellowed. I could finally focus on what truly matters and scroll social media without pretending it's for research. You would think that by now I must have resolved my ambient discontent issue. But no, there is a third character who kept whispering in my ear. Meet someday Sam. And for the last time, I'm sorry, Sam. I saw Sam's influence everywhere in my life. He made me postpone the calls I meant to make, dinners I promised I would attend, friendships I said I would invest in someday. And it didn't end there. He kept telling me, get your life in order first. Show up for everybody else later. And I listened. I moved cities, chased opportunities. But while my career started gaining traction, the people in my life started slipping away. I used to live a 3-hour drive away from my friends and family. And now, I live a 3-hour flight away from them. And distance has a strange way of clarifying what truly matters. I noticed how often I used to let my phone go to voicemail with excuses like, I'm at the gym, I'm in a meeting, I'm watching something, I'll call back later. But later is where Sam lives. Once again, that low buzz of ambient discontent, only this time, it sounded like, you'll get to them someday. That distance reshaped the question for me. Instead of asking, can I get to this later? I started asking, if this is important, why isn't it happening right now? And that changed everything for me because now I have a new rule. When a loved one calls, I answer. And for the people who are still within reach, sometimes it means closing the laptop even when there's more work to do. Sometimes it means saying yes to that board game night over that perfect productivity routine. Because relationships aren't something we earn after we optimize our lives. They are the reason success feels meaningful in the first place. So now, when Sam shows up, I say, not today, Sam. Today, I risk my productivity for that perfect game of Ticket to Ride, where I always lose. Nancy, Will, Sam, they are all the same fears, just in different disguises. These voices, they don't disappear. They get quieter now that we know what questions to ask them. And that's when the shift happens from ambient discontent to ambient fulfillment. The best time to reconnect was long ago. But the next best time is now. Thank you.